Hello, my name is Dr. Tisha Evans, and with me is my wonderful co-host,
Carson Raquel.
And this is
Be Well,
a show created by Your Therapy Now. For more information on the amazing services we offer, visit yourtherapynow.com. Now, you know, on Be Well, we love to keep it real and we love to share information that is not only healing but beneficial to our supporters, which are you that's out there. And so for this show, we wanted to talk about healing within the context of boundaries. So all this month, we've been sharing information about how to have healthy and unhealthy boundaries and ways to really make sure you reduce unhealthy boundaries and really engage in behaviors that are conducive to having pleasurable relationships. And so part of that is really also discussing about healing. Like, how do you heal in relationships, especially if you felt like your boundaries have been crossed? How do you move through that and move forward? And so Carson and I wanted to spend some time sharing that with you. And so we're going to go ahead and jump in with a question that I had for Carson that has come up in our dialogue together. And so, you know, my question, Carson, is, you know, first of all, how do you know when your spirit and your trust has been really broken by someone who has crossed a boundary, and how do you recover from that?
Okay. So I think that you know that it's happened by how you interact with the next person. And maybe it's not even like maybe a relationship, but with a family member or another friend, how you start to withdraw yourself and how you start to question everything and everyone around you. So that is probably a first indicator for you that has been broken within you. And how you begin to heal from it is, first you have to recognize that that's what's going on. And then you have to be honest. I have found, as far as healing for me in a situation where my spirit and my trust has been broken, that being honest was the hardest part, whether it was with myself or with other people, that I didn't want to believe it. And I think that when your trust is broken and when your spirit is broken in that way, you do enter into grief. And that is something that people don't really think about or talk about, or the phases of grief and how they fluctuate and how difficult it is to function while grieving. And whether you're grieving the loss of trust or the loss of a relationship or the loss of a person, these cycles that you go through are the same. And so the first indicator for me was I was a bit in denial, like, this isn't happening, or this isn't really happening the way I think it's happening, and it'll be fine. And then when I had to be honest with myself about where it really was, that's where it came to, wow, how do I get myself out of this? At first, I couldn't. And so I've experienced depression in that way. And I tried to do things that would help me or used to help me, or things that I liked, or things that brought me joy to try to bring me out of that space. But those things, when you are in a broken state, don't bring you that same joy. What you would want is a reconciliation of whatever happened, so that would bring you joy, because that's what you want. You don't want your hobby. You don't want your passion. You don't want your gift. You want the restoration of what was broken or what was lost. So the way you begin to heal is you have to start being honest with yourself. I am hurt. I am depressed. I am sad. I am not happy with the situation. And find, as we discussed in earlier videos, maybe 1 to 2 people who you can trust to be able to discuss with and share those situations with. Share, I'm afraid, or I don't even know how to get up, or I don't feel motivated. And the people you do share with may be able to help you in those areas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, such important information that you're sharing. And it sounds like you've gone through something to where you felt like this was hard. Can you share, you know, you talked about grief and talked about depression. Like, when you were in it, you know, what helped you kind of, you know, either see the other side to it, and who helped you see the other side to it? Like, can you maybe speak a little bit to that piece?
Sure. I went to therapy. I'm an advocate for therapy. I'm working with Your Therapy now.
Mm-hmm.
Therapy. So that helped. Even if it, like, at first I think I was going and I was sharing and I didn't see the other side. I couldn't really see much further than this right in front of me, because your pain can be so blinding that you don't really see hope for the expected end. You don't really see a future. You don't really see joy or the other side, because this is what it is. I had Dr. Evans. I was a part of her dance company, and I was trying to do things that would help me, that I love to do, and finding that I was not finding the joy, and trying to, and being able to be open and sharing, like, hey, this is hard. I know you want me to you want me to leap across this room, but
No leaping was happening.
I might be able to roll, at this point.
And you rolled too. She pushed through it and she rolled. Mm-hmm.
But having her was even helpful to give me just one day at a time, or to sit with me in a space of grief. Everyone doesn't have the words to give to you, because if they haven't experienced what you've experienced, they might not have the words for you, but just a presence can be enough. Just a hug can be enough. Just I'm here for you can be enough, and I'm here to listen. I had other friends, family members, church members, things of that nature, who were able to help me. And some people I never even shared with, but were just in tune with who I was and noticing that I wasn't the same me, and being willing to offer just an encouraging word, or to take me somewhere to go eat, just something to get me out, because they felt like, hey, I can see that you're hurting, and I want to help you any way that I can, that you would allow me to. And so there was where my boundaries shifted, because I started off very guarded, and then I had to move to if I keep guarding everyone, then I'm keeping my depression in, and I'm keeping love out. I'm keeping pain in, and I'm keeping healing out. So I have to figure out how to adjust myself, to be willing to accept the healing that has always been there and present for me to grab hold of.
I really appreciate your transparency, Carson. This idea, and not just idea, but your experience of, if I don't let these things in, then I'm not going to be able to experience healing. I'm not going to be able to experience getting back to a new place, or getting back to a place that I want to be. And that's something that we encourage everyone to really think about, which is, if I'm going through a healing experience or a healing process, and I emphasize the word process, because healing, as Carson is sharing, is not a sprint. It's a marathon, and you have to bring people alongside you. But if I'm going through a healing process, let me be mindful of my boundaries, right? Let me enhance boundary setting that really welcomes and promotes self-care, right? We talked a lot about boundaries with other people, but you also have to have boundaries with yourself. You have to recognize when you are maybe engaging in things or setting rules that don't allow healing in, and for you to be able to move through that. So that's something we're going to encourage you all, and we invite you to really think about. If you're going through a healing process right now, asking those questions that Carson asked, like, am I hurt? Am I feeling depressed? Am I doing things, am I around people who are going to lift me out of that, and really trying to shoot for that. So thank you, Carson, for sharing. And as always, if you have comments, questions, hit us up on Facebook. And we appreciate all the support that everyone's given throughout the series. And as always, be well. The first question from one of our supporters, he asked, when you're dealing with someone who has poor boundaries, right? So they don't respect your boundaries and they really make you feel uncomfortable. How do you advocate for yourself without coming across as being mean?